everyone, it's Janet and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be working with a Diamond Press Slimline Shadow Box die and stamp set called Sunshiny Day. This was something I subscribed to through HSN, where Diamond Press is sold mainly. It includes a Slimline Shadow Box die with three rounded rectangle shapes, and they have stitched markings in them. It comes with the dies that go with most of the stamped images. And if we take a look at the images, we see that there's some fun summer stuff here. We have palm trees, flamingos, flowers like hibiscus, as well as leaves, even a parrot and a balloon sort of randomly put in there. There are also many nice sentiments in this set, both in the long, thin format and in a more rounded format or compacted format so that you can put them inside the windows. It also comes with the Diamond Press folder and 2 pages of double-sided instructions, so it shows you a couple examples, and I'm going to make the lower one in this case for you. I think Diamond Press does a great job with their instructions. It's pretty clearly written and they include pictures, so it starts from the very beginning, how to create the shadow box itself, then the interior pieces, some decorating ideas, and finally it shows each of the dies and the stamps and how they go together. At the very bottom it's referencing this long thin flag for the long skinny sentiments, and that die actually came in the first set in the subscription box. I'm going to be using a variety of cardstocks from CutCardStock today. The flamingos are going to be made with this pink sapphire glitter. I'm going to be using gold for the sand. This is the CutCardStock silver, but I did not use it in the end. Then there is this aquamarine Stardream metallic that I'm going to use for the sky background. I'm going to be using this silver bright foil cardstock, which is wonderful stuff, for the box card front, and the blue raspberry and pop tone for the waves. So this is all great cardstock to use for this card. It's going to be bright, colorful, and fun. I'll have all the links to this in my blog post. Just follow that from my video description box. I'm starting by taking a full 8.5 by 11 foil sheet and cutting it in half. And then I'm going to lay out the front of the box die, which is the main piece plus the insert. And I'll secure that with washi tape and cut it. This will give me 2 layers of the same die. The directions say that I need 2 of these, so this will help me out and make sure that both cuts are the same. Now I will say I do not have a Diamond Press machine. Rather, I'm going to be using my Gemini for this, and I find that that doesn't seem to harm the Diamond Press dies, and it just means that I'm not going to be using their included folder with the kit. But if you like the Diamond Press designs and you don't have the Diamond Press machine, I'm just here to tell you that you can use this in other machines. Here you can see it cut through those 2 layers really nicely, and I've got now 2 exact copies of that front to be used. Next I'm going to do the same with the Stardream metallic for the back of the box. So I've got an 8.5 by 11 that I cut in half the long way, stacked on top of each other, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it, but this time just with the box border. And you can see it cut these 2 layers very well also. And now I'm going to bring back the foil layers, and I'm going to trim one of these at the second score line. So bringing in my paper trimmer, I will do just that. And this is actually going to go on top of the other full piece of foil that I cut earlier. I'm going to do the same with the Stardream metallic piece. I'm going to cut one of them at that second score line. So then what you have are both of these pieces cut with the tab and one without. Now I'm going to attach the front of the cut-off version to the top of the version with the tab, and I'm going to use double-sided adhesive for this. I will tell you that I have learned with the foil cardstock, if I use glue, it will tend to show through on the front. So for this one part, I'm going to use the double-sided adhesive tape. And that then does not show and adheres very well to the foil. Next I'm going to fold the tab so that it's ready to start putting it together to form the box that is the shadow box. So that can be set aside, and now I'm going to do something similar to this piece where I'm going to score in the fold lines. Remember, this is going to be the back of the shadow box. All right, and then I'm going to attach the two together. So I'm going to use the tab, and this time I will use wet glue. In fact, throughout the rest of this card making, I will be using only wet glue. Attach the front to the back, so you have the tab on the silver to the non-tab end of the Star Dream piece. And this is going to form a nice seam. I realized I had folded the Star Dream the wrong direction, so I just refolded that. And now you can see where the pieces meet in the back. You know, you can tell that there is the tab there sticking out. As soon as I turn it over, you'll see that again. So to cover that is why you need the second piece with the tab cut off. And I realized that I actually used double-sided tape for this as well, but I promise that's the only time I used it. It was on the front and in the inside. And there was no need to use it on the inside. I guess, pulled it because it was handy next to me. In any case, this provides a nice long single background and covers up that tab and seaming area inside. Now, if you wanted to save some of the fancier cardstock, you could do the main box pieces in, say, a plain white cardstock, and then do the exterior or the top of the box and the interior with the fancier cardstock if you wanted to save some supplies. Before we put everything together on that box, I'm going to cut some of the interior pieces. Here I have 2 layers of gold glitter cardstock. I actually need 3 of these in total, but I'll cut 2 at a time here. I've got 2 of the blue raspberry pieces in pop tone for the water. And then after I cut them, I went ahead and burnished in the score lines, because these sand pieces made in glitter are going to stand up and help to form that shadow box look. The great thing about these is they will also collapse as well as the box, so you can fold it flat and mail it. But you can see there what the dimension looks like. Now I'm going to attach some plain sand cardstock. This has just a little bit of texture on it, and I'm going to attach that to the front of one of the glitter pieces. This creates just kind of a hill. And because this is glitter, you have a lot of time to move around your piece to get it just right. I do not recommend using double-sided tape adhesive for this because it just doesn't stick to glitter very long. However, wet glue really attaches itself to the glitter cardstock really well, so that's one piece of advice I can give you. Now you can see that I've lined these up to be put on the inside of the box. And I'm just putting a little glue on each little tab and setting it in. Now I want to make sure there's a little border on the left of this and a little bit of space between the first and the second piece. I'm going to put the glue down, work on it setting so that it is firmly attached to the back piece. And then I'll start putting in the other pieces. So I think it's wise to try to do the farthest left and right piece first, making sure there's enough room in the middle left. But again, you want a little bit of border on the side and a little bit of border or space between each of the other 2 pieces. So it has room to fold. You need a little bit of room for them to fold on top of each other when the card is closed. And you can see that I'm testing that out by folding and pushing it down just to make sure that it's going to fold nicely once it is well adhered to the background. And once those are done, I can put the centerpiece in the same way, giving it some time to adhere and set. Again, because this is Star Dream metallic, it's going to take a little longer for the glue to set, but that also means you have lots of time to get it where you want. All right, now for my stamping. I'm going to use Stays On Black right on top of the glitter cardstock. So I won't be coloring these flamingos. I thought it would be fun to have the glitter cardstock finish to it. And of course, Stays On will stick to that glitter cardstock really nicely. It won't smear. And I'm going to stamp these actually, I think I ended up 3 times. And I brought out my LDRS Stampendable tool to help me make sure I got good images in that cardstock. Then I'm going to use the Stays On again in the other images and in the sentiment that I'm going to use for this card. I'm going to color these images with Caron markers, which are water-based, so the Stays On is waterproof and will not smear when I'm coloring on the top of these images. Here are the 8 Caron markers I'm going to use. These are the neon colors, and I also have the blender brush. The neon colors are a set of a dozen that you can purchase, and I thought that would be really fun to use for this hot summer card. So I'm going to start with this bright neon pink, and I'm going to outline the middle part of this hibiscus flower. Just like watercolor, the ink will move around a lot when using the blender pen. By the way, you can also use water and a brush if you'd like. I find that the blender pen gives me really good control, so when I'm working with really small images like this, I prefer to use it over a water pen or just a plain brush with water. But this really depends on what you prefer. There's really no right or wrong answer, I think, just whatever you like to use. In the interior, I'm going to use the neon purple and again spread that out. And I will continue to do so with each image. For the palm tree, I'm going to use the 3 greens actually. There's a yellow green, a neon green, and then a dark neon green. And I'm going to mix these colors together. But first I'll just apply the 2 darkest colors of greens and mix them together. Then I'm going to come back after it's dried and add some of that yellow green to give it a little bit more highlight. There's a lot that I'm coloring here, and this segment is a little bit long, so I hope you won't mind that I added some music, and there'll be quite a bit of silent time during this period. But I did want to just be complete and show you how I did color these up. Super simple and lots of fun to work with the Caron markers. Highly recommend them if you haven't tried them. They are a brush tip marker, but they aren't the actual brush type bristle the way that real color markers are from Zig. This has more of a marker tip similar to a Copic marker. But what that means is you have a lot of control over the width of your line based on the pressure that you apply. So they're very good for lettering because of this. You can get some neat calligraphy effects. And they also work for really fine little areas. Now you see me wiping that blender pen on the white cardstock there. That's because I'm switching colors. And the blender pen will clear itself up. You can use any color you want on it, but in between colors you'll want to just take a piece of white cardstock and rub it like I'm doing just there to get rid of any excess ink before you switch to the new color. So as you can see, these colors are extremely vibrant. Again, this is their neon collection, and you know, there may not be a great need or time for you to use neons, but especially not all of these neons together. You might use a neon to highlight a certain thing that you're coloring, but maybe not for the entire thing. But in this case, the neons fit the whole image of the card and the vibe I'm trying to get at. Now for the tree trunk and the branch, I pulled out 2 Caron markers in the regular line in 2 different browns. These colors are named Cinnamon and Cocoa, and they are the only 2 non-neons that I used for this whole collection of images. So there you go. I've now got all the dies. There's just the one little flower that I couldn't fit the die in, but I'm going to run these through and you'll see all of them that I cut out. And now we can take these and decorate our box card. So this again is where we left off, and I'm going to put the images both in the front and behind the top of the box. So to start with, I'm going to put in an accent with this pretty leaf, and then I'll put a flower on the top of that. And again, I'm following the second example in the instructions. I'm trying to fairly closely mimic that with a few adjustments. I think it's always good to start out with something that they've already shown you, so you get the feel for how big the pieces are and how they work with the box card openings, and then you can go from there. Also, the beauty of this line of box cards in the shadow box style is that, again, I mentioned it's a subscription, so there's going to be, I think, at least 2 more coming, maybe 3. And all of the images in the stamp sets are the same general size, and they'll all work together. So the balloon, for example, that's in this set could go with the first set, which has a bird and cat garden sort of theme. It has a fun picket fence, and that's what is shown through the box openings. So there's clouds, there's all kinds of, spring-like, if you will, images that you could combine with these images to create an entirely different look. And I look forward to trying some of that in the near future. So you can see that I'm also putting in some pieces in the inside of the box, and there's a mix of both inside and outside images. And that's important because you want to get that shadow box look. So there we have that third box, which will be, not third box, but the third window, which will be complete. I do find that Teflon bone folder works really well. It's exactly the same dimension as the fold line, which is so great because I can put it underneath the piece and then apply pressure to get the item that I'm gluing in, like this flamingo, in place without smashing the box or doing anything like that. So after doing this, I guess I realized you could put this together before you put them in the box, but I think that would be maybe a little bit challenging putting them in the right place. So I'm going to keep using my Teflon bone folder to give me support when I'm gluing things in. And here is the sentiment: hoping your day is amazing as you are. Again, cut with the flag that was included with the first set. If you don't have the first set, you can just cut this out and then cut in the flag ends. You would have the same effect. So don't worry if you don't have that particular die. All right. Now it's done, and I'm going to just train it to fold flat, just making sure everything works right. And I'm going to fold it both ways, and you can see it will fold flat. Some crafters that I saw when the first set came out said that they wouldn't fold flat, but I don't know what they're talking about, to be honest with you, because I don't find that at all. They do fold flat. Maybe not 100% flat, but flat enough to get into an envelope for sure, and it's not damaging it. The final touches I'm going to do for this card is I'm going to put a yellow enamel dot where the center of the hibiscus flower is. It's a pretty bright yellow, so it goes with the neon colors that are already there. I'm going to put a bright red enamel dot also down by the flowers in the corner. And then I'm going to take some Nouveau drops in ebony black. I'm going to just put one in the center of that flower. Set this aside to dry, and this card is done. I hope you enjoyed seeing how this goes together, and stay tuned as I get the other sets. If you liked this card, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and do subscribe if you haven't already. You can keep the fun going by watching a few more videos on my channel. You can find the links above. So I hope you enjoy that, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye!